Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Hire Moment Mastermind. Delighted to have you here and to answer your job search questions for the week. So as per usual, I am joined by Vern Schellinger, who's a master networking expert, and Tenny Good, who is an expert in federal government resumes. And I am Shira Lodzar, and I am a career coach and an association recruiter, and I help folks with resumes and LinkedIn profiles and getting all branded up for employers. So we are happy to have those of you who were able to join us today. We continually have a small crowd, but just means more airtime for those of you who are able to join us. So who would like to kick us off with a job search question? Be on any topic: resumes, interviewing, negotiating, getting noticed by employers.
Well, I may have brought this up before, but I'm a little concerned about the VMS systems that recruiting companies are using, where they ask you for, right up front, they ask you for the last 4 digits of your social and your day and month of your birthday. And I'm just, to me, that's invasive, in my opinion. But I had a recruiter ask me for that and said, I'm not going to submit you because you're not supplying that. I'm like, okay, fine. You know, I've seen articles explaining what that is.
Yeah.
And one article I saw explains it. And then the response at the end from people were like outrageous. It was like, oh my gosh, you got to be kidding.
Why? What's the rationale? Because I haven't heard of this before.
If they collect a information that's specific to you, like the last 4 of your social, your month and day, it develops a unique identifier that they could put your address and half your name and all this stuff. And this way, if you talk to another, it goes into a database. And if you talk to another recruiter, they'll be able to see your history of who you've talked to. And, you know, if you're vendor management and you're going to this vendor, you know, and they've already talked to that person, well, that will weed it out at the corporate level. So, but that's kind of shocking that they ask for that. I don't know if you've ever run into that before. I know I brought it up at Career Confidence, but
So maybe, so it helps to keep track. So for example, if 2 people are named John Smith, that's the distinguisher, right?
yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
If I may just add that, I mean, that seems quite odd. Your unique identifier in almost every applicant tracking system I've worked with is just your email address. It's a combination first name, last name, and your email address. If they're asking for that information is typically tied to being able to do background checks or to check and see if you have an active level clearance.
Yeah.
So they can use, but typically it's not just your last 4 digits. They need your entire social security number to be able to do and verify a clearance. So I would be hesitant to provide any additional information because every applicant tracking system I've worked with, and I've worked with a lot, they only need those 3 components to create a unique identifier across all of their positions.
Which is what your name and your
name, your first name, last name, and typically it's your email address, which is obviously unique. And some people may add a phone number, which is also unique. But typically they only need the minimum of 3 of those levels of criteria. That's my understanding, but if there's someone else on here who could elaborate, I would be really interested in knowing why they need that data.
Now, if a person has it, like if I have an interview and several interviews and they make an offer and it's time to, okay, here's the date you're going to start, you know, now you have to fill out the W-9s and fill out all the, you know, the background checks and all that stuff. That's when I feel it's appropriate to give your social security number, and because they have to do a background check, they've already made a commitment to do that. You know, I don't think too many companies are going to spend money on background checks for people they're just considering or possibilities. I think once you get to, you know, because it costs money, once you get to a person, you make an offer, it's pending on a good background check.
Right. And I don't know if they're just easing it because they can't do the background check without you signing an authorization. So it's making it maybe just easier for them to do it if you're selected to move forward. But again, it seems like a very lazy way to go about doing it. And it definitely doesn't build rapport.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it sounds like
think
it sounds like a system that was built by the company for the company to do their work, but not really taking into consideration who the customer is or who the
And the candidate experience.
candidate.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a middle factor between, like, say, a hiring company. Say you work for ABC company and you're an HR person and you interact with a recruiter, and you hire a bunch of recruiters, independent recruiters, to find candidates for you. That's supposed to be what they use, what the recruiting company uses for their database so they don't give you duplicate people. So I don't think
I've
it's
had a
specific to
similar
company.
experience.
It's more it's specific to recruiters in the recruiting industry or large recruiting companies.
I had that situation with a company. I did an interview with a company in Birmingham. Matter of fact, they flew me down. Can you believe that? In March of this year. And I was hesitant. I ended up calling you putting your information into the ATS and all of that. And then when it got to the phone, not the phone, the social security number, I was like, wait a minute, I don't even know you
Full
all.
social?
Full social.
Oh.
And I'm like, I don't know about this. You're not even in my zone here, So I end up calling them and asked them, do you have to, why? Why do you need this? And they needed it. The lady I talked to, she couldn't give me details. She just said it's part of the hiring process. And then at that point, you at kind of at an area like, should I not? I just said, okay, what the heck? And I'm like, you crossing because we live in a tough technical world here. You can't even, shop at the store now without being feared that somebody's going to hack the store. But I went on and did, and I got the interview. Like I said, they flew me into Birmingham for that interview. And I didn't get it, but I was first runner up. So I got the roses. But it's very nerve-wracking. I'm not from like in this zone in the DMV. When they ask for that, I just won't give it. I'll just say, okay, I'm gonna have to pass on this job because I don't know what you all are doing. I mean, I'm HR. I know we don't need that.
No.
So
Not at that stage, at least.
no, not you're right. And so I just pass if it's like that. But that's a good question, Will. I too wanted to know, why do you need that? I just figured their system was a little antiquated, but I'm not quick to do that because every week we find that somebody was hacked or ransomware or something like that, and I'm not quick to give that information out.
Yeah. Karen, did you have something to share?
Yeah, I had a similar experience, but I did a lot of research before I gave it to them. And then I got rejected the next day for something completely out of the job description. So I did a lot of research before I gave it to him. I had the guy pleading with me on the phone. You got to give this to me. Look, I need it for this, but I had a similar experience. And I don't want to be given that kind of information out. Yeah. So I turned my camera off because my internet is very unstable right now.
It's okay.
So anyway.
And Mo, are you new with us? I don't think I've seen you here before. Mo, are you there? Oh, she might have stepped away. Okay. Anyone else have a question?
I do have a question on this. I don't know a lot about federal contracting, and what is is there an average time from the time you get an offer to you got to go through the inspection, if that's the proper word, in order to get a clearance before you can start working? Is there an average time on that? But I'm thinking about from the time you get the offer till you can start work. Is there an average
Are
time?
you talking about whether, if, have they already gotten the contract or not?
Yeah. Well, I'm saying that if you get a job where you got to have a security clearance and you can't start working until the clearance come through, is there an average time for how long it would take for that to happen? Is that 3 months, 6 months, 9 months? You know, is there an average?
It depends on the level of clearance you're trying to achieve. And I am, for some reason, am I the one showing up as Mo Hutt?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why I said
Mo
Mo.
Hutt.
Who is
Yeah,
this?
no, my name is Susie Greco. I am like realizing it goes yellow every single time, and I'm not sure why. I may be logged into a
Oh.
different Zoom message, so I apologize. My name is Susie Greco. I'm a recruiter in the DC metropolitan area. I apologize. I am not Mo Hutt.
Can you change your name?
To be honest with you, I don't want to this. I work as part of a Recruit DC community, and I believe she's the one who set this up. So I don't want to mess with it, but I can log off and try to come back.
Oh, that's right. Yes, Susie, you and I have been doing some email tag. Thank you for.
Yes. Hi. And I thought I would join. I was like, oh my gosh, Huddy's here. That's awesome. But I was like, and she does step away. But I was like, okay. So my apologies. My name is Susie Greco. I am a cleared IT recruiter in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. But I do management consulting recruiting as well, but primarily focusing on federal government consulting. So based on your question, if you don't already have a clearance, and depending on which agency is trying to get you cleared, those clearances for an interim secret can take for 2 weeks, 2 months, or 18 months. So depending on the level of clearance you're being cleared for and the amount of investigation that has to go into your background, and there's so many variables. Depends. The higher level clearances will investigate your relationships with foreign nationals. It will, they do a friends and family connection. So they talk to your immediate circle, and then they ask them for 3 names, and then they talk to that circle. So depending on how long it takes for them to interact with those individuals, if they're easy to connect, it goes faster. If they are abroad, it's longer. So it could be anywhere, like I said, from 2 weeks to 18 weeks, depending on the clearance.
Okay, thank you, Mo.
And Susan / Mo.
Like I used to see it go yellow. I was like, well, that's sort of strange, but okay, now I get it.
That means you're talking, yeah. And Susan / Mo, just change your name and put the last 4 digits of your social and your birth month and day in there, and that will know who you are.
That is so funny. My apologies. I'm so sorry. I will, Shira, I will make sure that this is the first time I had an opportunity to join. So I wanted to, but I will make sure that next time I join with my own Zoom.
That's great.
You gave us a good laugh.
Yeah, well, hey, maybe I need more coffee.
Yeah, as Larry the Cable Guy would say, I don't care who you are. That's funny.
Yeah, that is funny. All right, sorry, but I hope that answers your question.
Thanks, Susie. All right, other questions?
Well, I found the article I'm referring to. I'm going to put it in the chat. So if other people want to see it, feel free to connect to it. And it's a very informative article, but then, the reactions afterward kind of express how like 99% of us feel about that. So you get down to the bottom, and then there's more, where is it? I pulled up pages and pages of they said 126 comments, but yeah, load more comments. It's an interesting read, the article and the comments. So if anybody's interested in that.
And I want to just say, so there, I looked up the article. So there is a difference when we talk about, these are staffing agencies. They are not corporate recruiters. So there's a very big difference there. Again, they're asking you to do their job for them and to sort of make it easy to make sure that there's no overlap when you submit. So they are protecting themselves against making sure that they're the only one representing you when they submit you for a particular job. But these jobs are also staffing positions. So they don't tend to be long-term. They tend to be shorter term, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months in duration. Most companies these days have a limit to how long they will hire you as a contractor, just again, for protection. So if you are looking for something that's more permanent, more long-term in nature, these staffing agencies are probably not the way to go. If you are looking for a way to get in the door for a particular industry or a particular position, or you are segueing, they are great because they give you a chance to get your foot in the door, get the experience. They work fast. So they definitely have their benefits. But what I'm reading here is definitely more for staffing agencies, vice corporate recruiters. If that helps.
Thanks.
I would agree with Judy in terms of if you have an opportunity to take a 6 month or 12 month and you think it's the right thing for you, it's a great way for you to demonstrate your skills during that period of time and figure out, is this a place that I'd really like to work at? And obviously after the 6 months or 12 months, if you've really done a good job and they have the budget, you may just automatically get hired there. So that is an option to think about.
All right, anyone else?
I have another question. If you get a no thank you, or be it a call or whatever, and they imply or even just say that you're overqualified, but you still want the job, would you recommend talking to the recruiters directly to try to talk them out of that overqualified situation, or should you just let it pass and move on to the next one?
I mean, you certainly could. I've had people do that with me. I mean, I don't typically use the word term overqualified. I usually say it's, I don't know, whatever the situation is. I don't use that phrase, but whatever, if you're getting that message, yeah, I mean, for sure, couldn't hurt, and just to ask them, what about, your experience makes them feel like you're overqualified. And look, at the end of the day, oftentimes people will feel, and I get it, right? Look, Sonia, you're in HR, you understand this. Somebody who has a lot of experience, and it's not even just the level of experience. It's not just the amount of experience, it's the level of experience. So you can have 25 years, but that's not even the point. It's what level are you? So if I'm doing a search for director level and somebody who's been at a VP level for a while applies, look, I'm a career coach too, so I know enough to know that some people are willing to, quote, take the step back. On the other hand, the recruiter side of me looks at all the candidates that I have, and I say, look, who's most likely to want to stay in this job for a while? So personally, I might reach out to the person and say, look, I noticed you've been at a VP level. This is only director level. Can you share with me why you're interested in this? Did you know that this is a much smaller organization than where you've been? That kind of thing. So that's just me. I'll typically engage them anyway and say, basically, why did you apply to this? Do you realize what this actually is? But I know a lot of recruiters don't do that. So you're welcome to reach out and have that conversation and say, look, I'm aware that the level is this. Would you be open to talking with me so that I can share with you why I feel I'm a good fit? That kind of thing. Why not? Couldn't hurt.
Just recognize that if you're talking to the recruiter, Sandra, that there was probably somebody above the recruiter who was making the hiring decision, and that's where the bias probably is. You could even convince the recruiter, and they could go back to the hiring manager, or and say, Sandra's really made a case and we really ought to consider her. No, I think she's overqualified, and then they got to convince that person. So, but I agree with Shira that the one positive that could come out of that is getting some information in that discussion that might help you for the next position in terms of presenting yourself or dealing with the overqualified bias.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
I would also add, they are much more flexible now because of COVID. There are a lot of individuals who are scaling back. So they are, because either they're overwhelmed with work or, personal issues. There are a lot of people who are taking a step back in their career. As long as you're able to clearly articulate that in your, perhaps an objective statement or a cover letter, which I know a lot of people in my industry don't read and sometimes get separated from the resume, which is a problem. So if you have an objective statement that sort of allows them to share with the hiring manager, yes, I know I've been an executive, but at this point I'm reassessing my quality of life and looking to take a step back, and I'm not looking for a leadership role, or I'm looking to sort of take a position that allows me to leverage my blank years of experience to your benefit, something along those lines. It goes a long way. And like Vern said, it enables me to communicate to the hiring manager why someone with so many years of experience is willing to consider something and a role that is looking for less. And if you don't have a salary discussion, it may be that they're considering you may be too expensive.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Very likely. Okay, other questions?
Back to government contracting position or firms. Could I get a confirmation on when a contracting firm submit a proposal to an agency? Is it usually the case that the agency consider the lower proposal? I was advised by one contracting firm that to consider only at least 2 or 3 contracting firms for them to submit my profile to the agency, because that firm said lately the agency will most likely consider the lowest proposal. Meaning it wouldn't do me any good if I ask one firm for a higher salary, because in the end the agency would go with a lower salary. Is that the case?
I'm not, I don't know that I'm in a position to answer that kind of question.
Mm. Kenny, are you still there?
I am. That's a complicated question, I think, because I think in the contracting world, I wouldn't say that agencies traditionally will always go with the lowest bid. I think it depends on the statement of work. I think it depends on a lot of other factors. But in your case, they're advising you not to ask for a higher salary because of the contract. Am I getting that right?
Something like that.
Okay.
They did say yes, determine the statement of work and everything else, but
Yeah,
advised me not to go with many competing firms.
Yeah, I don't know if I would follow on that advice. I mean, I think you go where the opportunities are, and you know your fair market value. So you go in there with that, and just as Shira has guided you correctly so many times before on the negotiation piece, you go in there for what you are worth and what you want, and that can always be negotiated down if you need it to be, or if you desire it to be, if it's a good position for you. But getting too much in the weeds of the contracting and the agency and what goes on the business side of it, I don't think is really helpful for the applicants. That would be my thoughts.
And Terry, just to clarify, I mean, who was it that said that you shouldn't go with more than one agency, or you shouldn't go with other agencies?
The contracting firm.
The contracting firm that's putting a proposal in for.
Yes. One contracting firm said that.
You shouldn't go to other contracting firms?
Or minimize the number of contracting firms.
Okay. All right, well, again, as a job seeker, I'm going to go to any place that I think can help me find a job.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah, I'm not following the logic on that one, to be honest with you.
yeah. Other than their self-interest.
Yes. maybe.
So. Yeah, obviously they don't want some other firm to win the contract, right? Oh.
All right, anyone else? We're quiet this morning. All right, well, we can end early. That's fine. I'd want to make sure that we're here to help.
Sonia, I just want to say I'm going to be giving you some positive thoughts and vibes over the next couple of hours. So get in there and get it done.
That is my goal. I'm really shocked that it came through. But like I said, I'm a GovCon type of employee. I like that environment. I know it's structured. I know a lot of people don't like it because it's very structured, and there are steps and things like that. And me, I like that. So we'll see. And like I said, I don't mind that the award is now to 2022, because I'd rather have something I can look forward to in the new year if I can't get anything in this last quarter of 21.
Yeah.
But if I can have something ready for me, that will make 2022 a beautiful year. So
There you
I'll
go.
give it a shot. Thank you, Tenny.
Your best of luck.
I enjoyed it. Thank you for allowing me to join.
Yeah, thanks,
Even with the
Susie.
wrong name.
No, that's okay. You're welcome back anytime. We appreciate your time here. And
Yeah,
so
thanks
we'll
for
go
your
ahead.
Thanks for your contribution, Judy.
Yeah.
It's Susie, by the way.
I answered anything.
Oh, okay, Mo, Susie, Judy.
Obviously, Mo, Susie, Judy,
Okay.
anything.
All
I
right.
have a twin. I answered her name too. So
Okay.
All right. Well, as per usual, we'll wrap up this part of the meeting. But if you'd like to stay on, I have a prayer call that I do after this. So if you'd like to stay on, you're certainly welcome. For everyone else, we'll look forward to seeing you next week. And please, announce the group to others. Susie, this is a it's a very, very small group. We've had a small turnout for the last number of weeks because people have been getting jobs.
that's always, as I said, this is a job seekers market. So
Yeah,
this
it
a
really
great
is
time
right
to be
now.
Looking.
Yeah.
It really is. So anyway,
Fantastic.
so
Good
we'll go
luck to
ahead and
everyone
wrap
who
up.
is.
Yeah.
All right.
Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Sorry, I have to leave and email the hiring manager or something. Thank you.
Okay. Bye, Terry.